All gas, no brake.
And now we have liftoff. Welcome into the Now We Have Liftoff New York Jets podcast. And of course, I am your host, John June. And of course, on this Tuesday evening, wouldn't be a show without my guy, Frank Jim Piccolo. Frank, what's shaking, boss?
What's going on, bro? Bro, I've been heated for the past 2 days, and I wanted to get your honest reaction because, sometimes I could be a little bit crazy with my takes and how I'm feeling.
A little bit.
Yeah. So after the game, CJ Mosley, I forget how it was approached to him, but he was talking about the disrespect that the Eagles players were giving to the Jets. So this is his direct quote. It was all over the field. I saw it. Coin toss, no handshake. Cox was laughing at Coach Salah when he was fighting for us, trying to get a play called. You see that stuff and you feel that stuff. And as a competitor, as a warrior, when you're fighting with your brothers, that pisses you off. That's been going on for a long time. Now, when I first read that, I was like, all right, CJ's a leader, probably good to get out in front of that. And then the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Like, can you do something about that then? Like, how about, if you feel like you're being disrespected, there might be a time to throw some hands. That's just my opinion, and that comes from the offensive line, defense type of background. As a man, if you feel disrespected, you probably should do something instead of going to the media about it and talking about I'm sick of all these talking points with this team. I get this as a young team, right? And I expected that. I expected the growing pains. But when you talk about disrespect coming from other clubs, that's when something's got to happen. That's when maybe it doesn't have to be CJ because he's so important, but maybe Nathan Shepard should throw some elbows or something. I don't know. Am I crazy? Am I losing my mind? Or are you on board with that?
110,000% on board with that, right? If you are complaining about other people coming into your home and disrespecting you, that's a problem with you. And I think that's a problem with this team. We've been saying it. It's like they play hard, but they don't play with a lot of fire, a lot of energy, a lot of passion. We've seen it all year, right? Whether it was mikewhite or joeflacco or even Zachwilson getting hit after the whistle, offensive linemen aren't doing anything. They're just kind of standing around. It's not just the defense, right? So this is an issue with the team. And you're right? Maybe you got to send Nathan Shepard, to go throw a punch or do something, or but this for we talk about with this and, we're going to talk about the defense in a little bit, but the Jets D line, man, one of the best units on the team, right? We talked about it coming into the summer in our positional breakdowns. This was by far the best unit on the team, deepest, most talented position on the team. Why are they the 30th or 32nd ranked run defense? It doesn't make any sense. I couldn't imagine, Rex Ryan in here with the likes of, I'm not comping Salah to Rex Ryan in any way. I'm not trying to make this thing a Salah versus Ryan thing, but I just think about those defensive lines. Those defensive lines would never be 30th, or they would never be close to the bottom of the league in rush defense. That's got to be an attitude thing, honestly, man.
And it baffles me, right? Because you would think it would be easier to run against a 3-4 defense, right? Because you only have 3 down linemen.
I mean, I don't really think about it that way as much, just because you have, like, I mean, a 3-4 defense, 3 down lineman is, that outside linebacker, he's really an edge. It's really like 4, sometimes 5. And you've seen successful rush defenses that are 3-4s. You've seen successful rush defenses that are 4-3. I'm not going to put it all on the scheme as much. I just think with the personnel that you have,
Well, I
you
think
should
that's
be
the
able to stop the run.
Like, it's hard though, because there's so many injuries with this defense in particular. It's like, so I hate to give them a pass because I hate excuses. Like, I'm very next man up, but this team's gotten ravaged.
No, they have. I mean, and they faced it. I mean, they've felt it, all over their defense and the D line at the second level and in the secondary for sure. So definitely something that we know, we know, we take note of, and we it is what it is, right? It's the NFL, right? Like, teams, they're not the only team that's hurt, right? So the Titans have probably more significant injuries if you look at who they've lost. And right, so, but they're still an 8-4 team, or whatever their record is here. But we got to talk about some special teams action here. And Amendola didn't play. Matt Amendola was cut, did not play. I'm gonna be honest with you, Frank. I have no idea who this kid was who was in there on Sunday. I wasn't watching the game, or I was at the game, so I wasn't watching it on TV. I didn't have the pleasure of getting to see his name come across the bottom of my screen as he missed
Bro, I was watching on TV. I was at a bar in Jersey, and as soon as I saw him go up for the PAT, I was like, he just doesn't look like an NFL kicker. And
yep, nope. That the kicks didn't look like NFL kicks. Nothing looked like it was NFL.
And what's funny is, so I'm at the bar with my wife, and we're talking to another couple, and I tell the other couple he's going to shank it, and he shanks it, and Madison goes, "Isn't that like a 22-yard field goal?" I was like, "Yep, sure is."
Yeah, so definitely not fun times here. But look, why kick it? Just why? Like, there's no reason to. And we saw Salah, after the 2 missed PATs, ends up starts going for 2. So that was off. That was great to see that by him. But, like, why? And now they signed Eddie Pinheiro, who I think spent some time in Chicago, also spent some time in Indy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's been around the league a little bit,
which I don't mind, like, but just think about what it could do for your team, for the confidence of your team, when you send the kicker out there and he actually converts points, instead of
we should have re-signed Jason Myers after the 2015 season.
I mean, look, sure, whatever. That is what it is.
I know, but it's important. Like,
I mean,
you can't be missing PATs. Like,
sure,
as much as
that's a Joe Douglas issue, though, right? Because that's that's saying that these are Mike Maccagnan's problems, when Joe Douglas has had plenty of time.
He's been terrible. He's been terrible.
The kicker.
He's been terrible with that. When you talk about last year, when you had the kid that got brought in from Baltimore, or that got traded from Baltimore to
Kari Vedvik
to Minnesota. He just couldn't kick here. Like,
because you got the kid cross training. He's punting and kicking one day. Like, found out the kid couldn't do either one. But yeah, either way, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, because at the end of the day,
kickers aren't people.
Going all of these kicking opportunities, just go for 2. Just go for it on 4th down. Give the offense an opportunity here to better themselves in these high pressure situations, especially as they're young. Matt LaFleur, he's young as well. So obviously, continuing to Mike. His name is Mike. I don't know why I keep doing that. Mike LaFleur, he's obviously he's continuing to grow as an OC here. But before we touch on the offense, I know we touched a little bit on the defense, but we're going to go back to that side of the ball. Again, we went on this rant here with the defensive line, but I just have to do it again, right? Like, how could you sit here with this Quinnenwilliams, all-pro player, right? John Franklin Myers, big money contract
Is
player.
he an all-pro?
All-pro caliber. He's having an all-pro caliber season.
I'm just asking, you know.
Yeah, no,
Inquisitive minds.
Having an all-pro caliber season. And I get it. We know what the Brycehuff and Carl Lawson understand that. But I would like at some point, I get it. I understand Salah is a head coach, CEO, but I'd like him at some point to just stick your hands in this defense for like a day and just let's see what happens, right? Like, if this defense could play a little bit better, granted, they, I don't know what happened from the beginning of the year to now. I mean, they've suffered a lot of injuries, a lot in the secondary, which I think has really hurt them. But this defense is really a detriment right now.
Yeah, it's bad. Like, it was bad. Philadelphia has a really good offensive line, and they got two very good, capable running backs. But what baffles me is C.J. Mosley and Brycehall said after the game that they didn't prepare for Gardner Minshew when Jalen Hurts was up in the air with his availability. Like, not being prepared for the backup quarterback when the starter is iffy is a problem. Like, it's a problem. Like, they should have prepared for Gardner Minshew. It's not like it's not like they're two of the same quarterbacks. They play a similar style, but obviously no one's going to confuse Gardner Minshew's running ability with that of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that was weird it was weird to hear that, kind of reminiscent of when we heard it about Tyrod Taylor and Baker Mayfield, 2018 when they played on Thursday Night Football, and how they said that they didn't prepare for Baker Mayfield, they had only prepared for Tyrod Taylor. And similar situation here where the Jets are saying they only prepared for Jalen Hurts and didn't prepare for Gardner Minshew. Jeff Ulbrich said that the offenses are similar and they don't change much with either player. And I have to say, I understand the Jets have been getting killed for this. I do kind of get what they're saying. If you look at Jalen Hurts, right, like 50% of his rush attempts, or almost 50%, come from just scrambles. And so they're not like, it's not like Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, where these are a lot of designed quarterback runs. Some of them are, obviously, but that's just run game and the run fits, right? Like, it doesn't change a whole lot of I don't think the pass game changes a whole much. So it's not like the entire offense changes all that much in terms of the concepts that they're running. So I do understand what they're saying. Now, if anything, though, right, they should have been much more prepared for the run game then, if that's the case, right? Like, they should have been able to stop Philadelphia's running attack, but they had no answer for it. They had no answer for Dallas Goedert, which they haven't been able to cover the tight end position all year. Like, not all, I wouldn't say all year, but especially since the absence of Marcus May and LaMarcus Joyner. They've had some difficulties covering opposing tight ends. Dallas Goedert,
they don't have anybody that could cover an athletic tight end.
No, and they got one into their house on Sunday in Dallas Goedert, and they had no answer for him. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns before the half, was able to finish with over 105 receiving yards. Dallas Goedert was, just unstoppable. when it came to him running around in the Jets secondary.
Yeah, it was just bad. All the way around. Like when you look at Goddard, he had 6 receptions for 105 yards, and most of those were like screens and slants. They weren't like crazy design plays where like it wasn't crazy exotic. It was
I mean they did target him down the field quite a bit as well, in addition to some of those shorter routes. But the fade route in the bottom right pylon, and he had a obviously the touchdown in the first quarter, or to start almost on Philly's first drive. I mean, this game though was back and forth, it seemed, for the first quarter. I remember checking the live odds on the over after midway through the second quarter, and it was like 64.5, and I was like, oh my god. But it was a fantastic performance by the Jets offense, and it was the best part about this performance was it was led by Zach Wilson. You're not sitting there watching Joeflacco lead an offense or even Mike White. You're watching Zach Wilson, the number 2 overall pick, do it. And he had 3 touchdowns on the first 3 drives, all by him. The first one, him and Elijahmoore. Just Elijahmoore on a great. I mean, we'll get into Elijahmoore in a minute. The man's going to get in his own little segment here, but Zach Wilson, obviously then on the fourth and 1 call, 4th and goal call, going to Ryan Griffin, and then getting the quarterback sneak there to put 3 touchdowns on the board. And there was a 24-18 game at half. Now, people might want to kill Zach Wilson for his lack of production in the second half, but the Jets had the ball for 59 seconds of game time in the third quarter, right? It's a 15-minute quarters here, and they had the ball for 59 seconds. They only ran 3 offensive plays. The 4th play was a punt. Not many quarterbacks would have much success touching the ball just one time in a quarter. And it's definitely tough to get into a rhythm there when you are a young quarterback there. But Frank, what were your overall thoughts on the performance here by Zach Wilson?
promising, right? That's what I took away from it. This is the type of game I think you could build off. It's hard to build off games like a game like he had in Tennessee, where he had to come out and make a lot of off-platform throws, because what are you building off of? That's you kind of playing backyard football. You're just going off of like instincts and athletic ability. When I broke down the film yesterday, you could see in practice that he made a concerted effort to not have his feet so hurried. Like that was a lot that you heard from these analysts like Daniel Orlovsky and Steve Young, is that when he's in the pocket, that his feet look hurried, like he's rushing through his progressions. He looked, especially in that first quarter, he looked a lot calmer. He went through his 3 5-step drops. Boom, the ball was out of there. I think I believe that he's finally starting to get more comfortable in this system. I thought it was going to come sooner because we kept hearing during this draft process that this was the perfect system for Zach. I just, like we've said, he's young. He's a 22-year-old. I believe he's 22. And it was going to take a little time, especially being that Correydavis has been in and out. Elijahmoore started the year hurt. They don't have a tight end, which is normally a rookie quarterback's best friend. Like when Sam was a rookie, his favorite receivers were Chris Herndon and Quincy Nwhlo, who was basically a oversized tight end.
undersized, but I picked up what you're putting down. Yeah, no, totally agree with you there. I mean, he totally looks way more comfortable this week than he did just, I think it was overall his best game, right? When you look, even the turnover wasn't egregious. It wasn't a terrible decision, probably just poor execution there on the throw. He was able to make plays within the structure of the offense, right? And I think that was definitely promising. And like you said, there was a lot of expectations put on him. There was a a thought there that he was going to come out of the gates. They called him like a football savant. How he studies the playbook, and he's a they have to basically kick him out of the building. And we basically put all these expectations on him that say, hey, Zach Wilson, he's ready to go. He's gonna hit this offense running. He's taking all the first team reps. But we still have to remember, like, this is a Kyle Shanahan system, which is one of the hardest systems to learn in football, regardless of your position, but especially when you play quarterback. So a lot of guys, they come into it. Aaron Rodgers had his fair share of struggles his first year playing in that system under Matt LaFleur, head coach for the Green Bay Packers there. So Mike LaFleur here is going to have this opportunity here to grow with Zach Wilson, grow with these young players like Elijahmoore and Michael Carter. And so I think that, hey, we were hard on the kid. I know I was especially hard on him last week for sure. And even last week there were still like those baby steps. You could see that they had been taken. But as we said, the Jet fan is running out of patience now. We want to see it now. Especially again, when you look across the league, you see guys like, all these rookie quarterbacks that are not having success, right? With the exception of Mac Jones.
And that's the thing, though, right? And I was talking to my buddy. I was like, all these rookie quarterbacks are struggling. Justin Fields isn't even playing right now. Trevor Lawrence has only threw one touchdown in the month of November. And when you look at Mac Jones, he went into a ready-made situation where the quarterback before him plays in a similar style, and Bill Belichick is not going to put Mac Jones in a situation that's going to hurt the team.
Look what happened yesterday. They threw the ball three times.
Yeah. I thought that was Rex Ryan back there.
No, I mean, once the weather report came out, I said, hey, this is just the way Bill Belichick likes his football games.
Especially now, right? Like, you don't have Tom Brady there where, you feel comfortable throwing it 40 times a game. You have a rookie quarterback. You're playing against the Buffalo Bills, and that was like an offensive lineman's dream last night, to just run the ball down their throats, assert your dominance. But that's enough of talking about the Pats.
Yes, please. This on a Jet show, you can't be talking about the Pats for more than we need to. So obviously, speaking about our offense here, the running game looked good. Tevincoleman continuing to show he's still got some stuff left in the tank. Just warming it up, keeping it warm for Michael Carter when he comes back in week 15 against the Miami Dolphins. But we also, I talked about it. Got to talk about my guy, man. That guy right there. Elijahmoore, number 8. Wide receiver 1, right? Especially, look, even Correydavis, we understand. If you haven't heard, he will be out for the rest of the season after having core muscle surgery. So, there were some reports that he probably should not have been playing in the game on Sunday, and the news that he's getting surgery pretty much confirms that he probably shouldn't have been playing in that game. So Elijahmoore, wide receiver 1 season, it's been here for a while, but it's pretty much here now. The guy has been balling. You look at what
he's their best playmaker by far.
He's absolutely our best playmaker. But you look at what he did in Sunday's game. I mean, obviously, Frank, I come from fantasy land, fantasy football diagnostics. That's the pod, shameless plug. But anyway, that I was looking at this matchup from Elijah Moore coming into this matchup. If you had Elijah Moore in fantasy, you were almost tempted to sit him because the matchup was so poor here against the Philadelphia offense that's good against wide receivers. But that didn't bother Elijah Moore not one bit. I mean, 12 targets, 6 catches, 77 yards, 1 touchdown reception there. If you go all the way back to the Cincinnati game here, Elijah Moore is through those 6 games is on a 16-game pace. Remember, we do play 17, but I'll give you 16. A 16-game pace of 136 targets, 91 receptions, 1,224 receiving yards, and 13 touchdown receptions there. That's a rookie.
And I think I'm getting to the point now with Elijah Moore where I'm confident that he's going to get his no matter who we're playing against. Like, I also feel like Mike LaFleur is coming to his own where he realizes how good this kid is, where you could see that he's making plays where Elijah Moore is the focal point of those. Like, he's Zach's first option and sometimes first and second option.
Yeah, I said it last week. It was evident on the 4th and 1 call against Houston. I got to have a situation. And who does he go to? He goes to the rookie and Elijah Moore. 12 targets on Sunday. I mean, that pretty much just shows who the lead guy in this offense is. And again, I mean, you don't have to take it from me. There's plenty of people out there, film analysts, whatever, that break down wide receivers. Go look at some of the all 22 film of Elijah Moore, and you're going to see that this dude, he makes plays even when he's not getting the football, because he is just putting DBs on roller skates with his route running ability. The kid is an absolute beast of a route runner. So, I mean, Jet fans, just be happy that we have, like, for the first time in a long time, a young offensive player that actually plays football like they do in 2021. Right?
But like for me and you, right? This is probably the best wide receiver ability-wise that the Jets have had. Like, maybe I wasn't, me and you weren't around for Altoon, but he probably has more ability than Keyshawn. Different type of player. Keyshawn was more of that Brandon Marshall-esque type of guy. You had Wayne Corbett, who was like Wes Welker before Wes Welker. Shifty but not fast. This is like a straight playmaker. Like that's
what I'm saying. He's just different, right? Like I think the comp that comes
Lockett, like you said before the season, that's a great comp. I know people have been throwing like a lesser Antonio Brown around. That's a good comp. But, like, I don't even think you could compare him because I think his football IQ is higher than those guys.
I mean, it's tough to say that.
And his want to. Like, at least his want to. Like, for me,
yeah,
you can tell.
It's definitely tough, right? Like, but the thing with Elijah Moore is that everything that you hear about the kid is that he's not. He doesn't carry himself like a rookie. Like, you wouldn't think that he's a rookie. So I'll definitely give you that. Like, maybe his football IQ is, and maybe that's what you probably meant, is better at this point of his career than it was when those guys were rookies entering the league. Because, like, Elijah Moore is doing, I mean, I'm not going to, like, Justin Jefferson had a phenomenal year, like, phenomenal. But, like, Justin Jefferson had 1,400 yards. Elijah Moore is on a 16-game pace of almost 1,300 receiving yards here. So again, like, he's having a very good season. And the Antonio Brown comp, I understand what people are saying, because when you watch him run routes, you're like, oh, I totally get why people say Antonio Brown, because of the route running ability, his ability to create separation there. I mean, friend of the show, DJ Bienemy, that was one of the first things he talked about was Elijah Moore's ability to create separation and how special that makes him so special. I just feel fortunate that as Jet fans, we watch players, across the league in our own conference, even in our own state. Like we had to watch Odell Beckham on the Giants. We even watch Stephon Diggs now on the Bills. The Dolphins have Jalen Waddle, and we have a player of our own here in Elijah Moore that is exciting. And again, coming from Fantasyland, people are excited to play Elijah Moore on their fantasy teams, which is something you couldn't say about a Jets player in a very long time.
No, I used to have a rule where I wouldn't draft or pick up Jets players no matter what, because they were always horrendous when it came into like fantasy football. Like you talk about our receivers, Quincy and Nwhlo, Jericho Cotry, like they're good, decent receivers, but they never really put up like crazy fantasy numbers, except maybe for that 1 year with Marshall and Decker.
And that's the point, right? Like now, when you were talking about receivers, like this is the most impact I think a receiver has made on this team since Brandon Marshall's 2015 season, right? Like we haven't seen another receiver do what Elijah Moore is doing during this span. I mean, he's got 5 touchdowns over 6 games, right? Like this guy is producing. Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. So we know Correydavis is going to be out. So that means there's more opportunities here for a guy like denzelmims, who got a lot of run on Sunday. That was something I just kept saying repeatedly into space was denzelmims played a decent amount of snaps on Sunday. I mean, he didn't do much. I know you're making that face, Frank, but he didn't do much. Didn't get – I think he got 1 or 2 targets. I actually think he did get a reception there in classic Mims 4-yard reception.
One target, according
1
to
target,
PFF.
4 yards, did play 36% of the snaps, which was the most in a game in which Correydavis was active and playing. So, definitely would assume that he's the guy that's going to take the lion's share of the opportunities here with Correydavis out. I think it's evaluation mode time for a guy like denzelmims. You got to find out what you have in him or whether you need to invest in the wide receiver position again. And again, he's had a tough year. He dealt with injuries, dealt with a non-COVID injury which caused him to lose 20 pounds, and then actually caught COVID recently. Was just activated off the COVID list. So any expectations for you from denzelmims here, Frank?
I'm not going in with any expectations, but like you said, it's evaluation mode. They have to see what they can get. I still think he's young enough where if he doesn't fit this offensive scheme that LaFleur is trying to implement, I still think you'd be able to get a 4th rounder for Mims at this point. So they need to see what they got. And then if that's the case where he's not going to fit the offense, you find a team, you trade him in the offseason, and then either in free agency or in the draft, or maybe both, you address it.
Yeah, and I think, we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that we could realistically walk into a situation next year, the New York Jets can, and Elijah Moore is like really the only dependable guy you have, when you look at your roster, right? Because Jamisoncrowder, I don't know what his situation is going to be, but I would say he's probably not coming back. denzelmims, you have to find out what you have in him, but assuming that it doesn't pan out, it doesn't come together. And then Correydavis, we don't know how, if he'll even be ready to start at the start of the season with this, core muscle surgery. So, we definitely have to.
Rich Cimini said it was an 8-week recovery.
8-week recovery. Okay. So then that's not terrible there. So it seems like that would put him in line to be back to start the season, but free agency is right around the corner, right? Like Joe Douglas and this coaching staff are going to have to know, do they invest in another receiver? Do they go after a guy like Michael Gallup? Do they go target a guy like DJ Shark? Right? Like, these are things that we're going to have to find out and will be discussed right here on this pod. So, anything else that we got to talk about offensively here, Frank, before we move on?
No, the offensive line was solid for the most part. I thought, even the run game. I thought the run game was solid for the most part.
So there you go. Offensive line analysis is done by our in-house offensive line expert. But we are obviously moving on to our next segment, which my guy Frank will lead us into.
As you guys all know, the next segment is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Hey, football fans, I'm sure we all love action-packed, high-scoring NFL games, but with the latest no-brainer from your DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you'll be a winner once a single point scored. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state, you can still get in on the NFL action. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports Contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN, that is TPPN. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets if they score. You score with promo code TPPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit, $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Called 1-800-GAMBLER.
And as my guy Frank said, this next segment is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use that promo code TPPN. And this line of the New York Jets at home against the New Orleans Saints is also brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. And this game has a 43-point total where your New York Jets are 5-point underdogs here. And we obviously know we got some breaking news here around, right, hot off the presses here. Cam Jordan of the New Orleans Saints has been placed on the COVID list. So that's a big blow there for the New Orleans Saints defensive line, which if there's one thing that there's a couple things to know about this matchup here, but the biggest thing to know is that the Saints, they have one of the most dominant rush defenses in the league going, and that spans over the past three to four seasons, how the dominance of this rush defense. The other thing to note is this pass rush here is not one of the this pass rush, this pass defense here is one of the worst pass defenses in the league, especially when you look over these last several weeks. And so I look at this game as an opportunity here for Zach Wilson and Elijahmoore to continue to make some plays in the pass game down the field. However, the Saints pretty much know that the New York Jets cannot stop the run. They have a quarterback in Taysom Hill who ran for 101 rushing yards last week against the Dallas Cowboys. Alvin Kamara has been out for, I think it was 5 games to this point, 4 games, 5 games. It's felt like, I think it's 5 weeks, 4 games. He's been out with a knee injury. So we don't know his status and if he will play. But if he does, obviously, yeah, sorry. If he doesn't, Mark Ingram probably still run for 100 yards and a touchdown or so against this porous rush defense. However, I do believe that there's an opportunity here for the Jets defensive line. Taysom Hill's not very good. He's not I don't want to say he's not very good. I don't think Taysom Hill is as bad as people make him out to be, but he's playing with an injured finger. I think he's a guy with there's no weapons on the outside to speak of that really put some fear into you if you're the Jets and the Jets secondary. So I think this gives some opportunities to get some exotic looks and really load the box up against Taysom Hill, who is going to want to use his legs to beat you. So with that, I think the Jets cover. I still think that they lose. Think that we hit the over. But Frank, I want to hear your thoughts.
It's tough. As always, it's always tough to figure out what defense you're getting with the Jets, right? Especially against this team, because this team is the Saints are such a weird team because they have some pieces when they're healthy. Like Kamara's amazing. I even like Ingram to an extent. Taysom Hill. What do you do there? Like, which Taysom Hill are you getting? Is he just a gadget quarterback? Is he more than that? But they do have probably one of the brightest offensive minds in the game in Sean Payton. And like we talked about last week, the solid defenses do have a hard time with mobile quarterbacks. With that being said, I do think the offense continues playing well-ish because I do like the pieces on defense for the Saints. Demario Davis is a good linebacker. They got pieces. Losing Jordan hurts them, but I don't know if that's going to matter all too much. But I have the Saints winning and covering.
Definitely hope I'm right this week then. I think I said the Jets. Did I say the Jets would cover last week? Oh, no, I thought Jalen Hurts was going to play, so I did not think that they would cover last week. And I did not believe, or I had them to win the week before against Houston. So, we'll see. Maybe I can get 3 in a row here and get hot. Well, yeah, I mean, it'll be an interesting game for sure, man. I like, to your point, which Taysom Hill do we get and which Jets defense do we get? Because that could really set the table for what kind of afternoon we have on Sunday.
Yeah, if they could get pressure on Taysom Hill, right? If they load the box up and get pressure on Taysom Hill and force, like, it's not that difficult when you're playing a young quarterback. Make him beat you with his arm.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is like the solid defense struggles against these mobile quarterbacks, but these mobile quarterbacks that we've listed, like the Josh Allens, the Russell Wilsons, the Kyler Murrays, they're also like elite passers as well, right? So like
they're elite quarterback. They're elite quarterbacks.
so like this is a little different, and that's why I wasn't overly afraid of I'm not overly afraid of Taysom Hill, and I wasn't overly afraid of Jalen Hurts even as a quarterback, as a passer. I was just more afraid of the Philly offense per se. But if Alvin Kamara plays, like there's zero shot. The Jets, not zero shot. I don't want to say zero shot, but like it becomes very hard for the Jets to maintain competitive spirit in this game if Alvin Kamara is out there, because you don't know how do you treat with all their they don't have Michael Thomas, Deontay Harris, their most explosive receiver, is suspended for the next 3 games, including this one. Marquez Callaway is not going to give Brycehall any trouble. Little Jordan Humphrey is, I guess probably going to give us some trouble playing out of the slot. But like, who do they have as a playmaker? Like Alvin Kamara will, like, how do you treat? You could put Kamara and Ingram on the field at the same time. Like, how do you treat Kamara at that point?
What are you going to do? Who are you putting on him? Who are you putting on Kamara?
Just give me the ball back. I'll take the ball.
You put Quincywilliams on him and hope that Alvin Kamara drops the ball. No, I know. It's either him or Ashton Davis, and either option's terrible option.
Just let him score. Give Zach Wilson the ball back. We'll try to win this game 51-49.
That'd be an awesome game to watch.
It would be, even if we lost.
Yeah. Zach Wilson, if the offense scores 55 points, that's a win.
I mean, this is what we said, right? Like the loss on Sunday, these are the losses that we want, right? Like the 33-18 where the offense looks good. They're rolling, like, maybe they hit a bump, but those are the losses that we expect here, right? And so if they can put an exciting game on tape, they can give us some excitement here. We can watch, Zach Wilson continue to make strides. Elijahmoore continue to dominate as one of the better receivers, better up and coming receivers in the league. That I think that all could be, Jet fans around the world could be happy, could be excited, could be seeing the good things that are coming potentially with this team.
Some of us, because there's a portion that want it instantaneously.
I mean, can you blame them?
No, you can't. You can't. Especially the older Jet fans who've had nothing but misery for the past 40 years.
Yeah, man, definitely understand the pain there. Understand the want for it to change, but as Salah likes to say, we're gonna feel really happy. We're gonna remember these times. We're gonna feel real fortunate for when the good times come, man.
Tony Robbins always says it's all about the process. If your process is correct, the results will eventually come.
So, with that being said, I think I got to pick a lock here. So, I'm going to go with Frank's favorite lock, Arizona, -2 over the Rams.
Really? I was staying far away from that game, even though Los Angeles is not playing good football as of late.
Nope.
With that being said, I am going to go with the Niners +1 over the Bengals.
Okay. Picking on Joe Burrow a little bit, I see.
You just don't know what you're getting with that offense. From week to week, it changes.
No, totally get that. So we'll see what happens. Again, I hope I'm right, because that means the Jets covered, and we'll be talking. Potentially, we could be talking about a victory Tuesday here. We get my fuzzy ball hat back here. I think I'm only in agreement. I'm only gonna wear it when we win. So gotta have some fun things around here. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for spending the time. If you could just please take a little bit of time, just rate, review, subscribe to the show. However it is you're consuming this wonderful content here, this wonderful Jets content, however you may be consuming this content, just please, whether it's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, whatever platform it may be, just subscribe, click a notification bell if they have one, leave a review. It all helps us out. Doesn't cost you anything, and just continues to allow us to take this show to another level. So until next time, have a good one. We're out of here. Peace. Bye.